A very good evening from the Standard Group Center here in the Kenyan capital, Nairobi. Many thanks for joining us. I am Ben Kitili. Welcome to this special edition of Choice 2017, our flagship election coverage product here on KTN News, Kenya's 24-hour news channel. Remember, today being the first day of the ODM primaries, the political party primaries, the Orange Democratic Movement being the first party on the ground. They have carried out their nominations exercise across 3 counties today: Bungoma County, the county of Busia, and the county of Machakos. We have a lot of activity that was ongoing throughout the day. Some chaos has been reported in the county of Machakos in Mutuane ward. That is, of course, just a few kilometers away from where we are right now. But we have results are starting to streaming across various polling stations especially in Busia and Bungoma. As you can see there, vote tallying. Those are live pictures from the county of Busia. Vote tallying currently underway. Remember, that is one of the places where we have been expecting that titanic battle for the gubernatorial ticket for the ODM party between the incumbent Governor Sospita Ojamong and the Funyula Member of Parliament Paul Otuoma. The day started on a rather pacey note for both of them, with claims or allegations of foul play between the 2 candidates. We'll be joining our senior political reporter Duncan Haemba, who is standing by there to just tell us what is happening there. But welcome to this program. I will be speaking to 2 gentlemen. That is Dr. Alex Awiti and Dismas Mokwa. They shall be giving us their perspectives on the first day of the ODM primaries, what they have seen. Of course, we have other intrigues that have been ongoing. ODM party cracking the whip on some of the members or aspirants. They have said they were instigating some violent demeanors. We have all that details for you. Welcome to the program. We hope to have some form of results during and at the end of this program. Thank you for joining us. So as we have told you, the results are starting to streaming. We have some results from the county of Bungoma, where we had one constituency where we did project some competition, some hot contest there. That is the constituency of Kandui, where we had David Makali up against Edwin Sifuna. We have some results from some polling stations in that constituency. Of course, Chris Tairo and Robert Onyenya are still trying to gather much more information for us. In Kijana Wamalwa polling station, David Makali has managed to garner 142 votes. Edwin Sifuna has 12 votes. In Mechimeru polling station, still in Kandui in the county of Bungoma, David Makali has 425 votes against Edwin Sifuna's 209. And in Kimugui polling station, still in Kandui, David Makali has 425 votes, and Edwin Sifuna has 135. Those are some of the latest results. Remember, they are starting to stream in. The presiding officers have projected that by around 10 or 11 we shall be having the full results. Kijana Wamalwa polling station in Kandui, David Makali 142, and Edwin Sifuna having 12 votes. Mechimeru, David Makali has 425, Edwin Sifuna has 209. Kimugui, Makali has 425, Sifuna has 135. Chris Tairo is still keeping an eye on the vote tallying for us. They shall be giving us more details. But we have details again from the county of Busia, where ODM officials, they have told KTN News that they have 99% of the results via SMS, but they are not announcing until they get the hard copy material. So they estimate that they will be announcing between 10 p.m. and 11 p.m. Let's listen in to Innocent Oluku.
We are like 99% delivered. So we have actually a picture of what it is on the ground. Because of the slight delay, by 10, 11, we should be through with the whole exercise.
That is Innocent Oluku. They are saying they have received most of the results from the county of Busia, but in form of SMS, they are waiting for the hard copy material so that they can announce. Duncan Heimba is standing by for us. We shall be speaking to him in a short while to tell us what is happening in terms of the tallying, in terms of what numbers they have so far. But let's now bring in Dismas Mokua, political analyst here, and Dr. Alex Awiti to just shed some more light on this. And Dr. if I can start with you, what can you say about the whole process today? We saw what has been happening in the 3 counties until now that we are waiting for some sort of results. What can you say about the nomination exercise by ODM today?
I think we still have fundamental institutional challenges, especially with building robust, capable political machines that can enable fair competition in a dispensation of democracy. The reason I say this is it's 25 years since 1992. And I guess we've had different shades of instruments and vehicles calling themselves parties, and they keep morphing, and every election time people craft these personal things and create euphoria around them, and people join them. And I think that leads to some enduring but very troubling institutional weaknesses. So look at what these guys are doing today. You know, it's an archaic process of tallying and even receiving undertaking the voting process. Things that Mr. Odinga himself has criticized the government, IBC, for instance, saying this is, you know, we need to go digital. Look at their process. Look at their process. Now they're waiting. It's all in one box, and then you have to sort them out, put them apart, and then start to count them again. So I think this is a real indictment in the so-called political leaders in terms of building a credible institutional process that can handle nominations, even at the party level. They're really struggling. This is, in my view, is a sham. It is a disastrous failure in institutional building, and I think Mr. Odinga has to watch this very carefully.
Is it a harsh indictment as well to the whole political party system in the country? Because ODM is the
oldest
the real semblance of a political party in this country.
Absolutely. So you can imagine what's going to happen in others. And I think this is what basically creates huge problems for us going forward, because it starts from those kinds of spaces. And if you cannot enable a transparent and credible competition at a party primary level, then it is very difficult for us to give the citizens of this country some really clear choices about what they're choosing in terms of what are the competing ideologies, what are the competing visions for advancing democracy and development. And I think anybody watching this saying is basically, if your county is next, you're basically saying, oh my God, what's going to happen here? So we're waiting until 11, and we're still waiting, and these guys haven't announced. They had a whole day to do these things. These things are written on textbook, on excess book pages. There are no real ballots in a process. So what are we thinking about in terms of building credible institutions, moving our democracy forward?
Right. Dismas, what do you think about today's exercise? What's happening? We're waiting for the results. What's your take?
Well, in my view, there are 3 major observations. Number 1, that Kenya, as a nation, we do not respect law and order. Because we decided to borrow the American presidential system of elections, one would have expected that we had an independent body actually carrying the party primaries that is probably associated with IBC or a special purpose vehicle. Because what is happening today in these party primaries is actually a scandal, a big one. They were supposed to begin voting at 6 o'clock in the morning. For most of the polling stations, they started midday. And the way Dr. Wita has explained, it's so mechanical and it's unacceptable in today's world. And I think maybe moving forward, we are hoping that we are going to get very good, sharp legislators so that we have an independent body similar to IBC, which can do party primaries, given the fact that this primary is being funded by taxpayers. Because, you know, there's an allocation which goes to political parties. Right. So it's really unacceptable for Wanjiko to keep on giving money to an organization and the money is spent in this kind of a reckless manner. Then number 2, we need to be very careful with alternative facts and fake news, like what happened in the US recently. Like in the morning, assuming that it's actually the case that Governor Ojamong came up with a fake publication suggesting that Dr. Otuma has moved to Jubilee, in as much as that may not be really a criminal offense, but it's unacceptable today. I mean, you've been running a very good campaign, and then in the last minute, the people of a particular electoral area are forced to take a decision, not because of your credibility, but because of this kind of propaganda and misinformation. And the last one is that Kenya as an economy, we are facing south. That being a politician today is the highest paid job. Nobody wants to go for another position. I saw what happened in Machakos, Mudhukwani. When the ballots were being counted, there were gunshots, meaning that everybody in Kenya knows that if you want to make money, you don't need to be a medical doctor, you don't need to be an engineer, you don't need to be a journalist. Just make your way to the political system, you go and start stealing from Wanjiko.
Right.
So those three observations, I think, are very worrying. And especially from using the Machakos thing, if there were gunshots at an MCA primary, you can imagine what is going to happen during the general election, where there's going to be trouble all over. And the people who are making the speeches there, like the guys who've won, one of them was being interviewed and they said, what are you going to deliver? He's got no idea as to why he was running to be an MCA today, but we could see from his body language that he cannot wait to go and steal from Wanjiko.
Right. All right. We will just hold that thought. Of course, we are following the results as they are being tallied as we speak. Let's now, of course, we are standing by to talk to Chris Tairu, coming to us live from Busia. We shall be speaking to him after this quick commercial break. We also have our senior political reporter, Duncan Haimba, also in the county of Bungoma. We shall be crossing live to them in a short while to just find out what numbers they have as of now. Stay with us.
This is KTN News.
Vaseline knows your skin is like this wall. It gets dry and damaged, just like this. Now, engineered with micro droplets of Vaseline jelly, Vaseline Men Extra Strength Body Lotion restores dry, damaged skin in just 5 days. Dry, damaged skin restored in just 5 days. That's the healing power of Vaseline.
We wish to inform all owners of tourism establishments, as identified under the 9th schedule of the Tourism Act 2011, that we are conducting a profiling and registration exercise countrywide. Please accord our officers the necessary support.
Coca-Cola?
Oh, it's happy hour. So, you want a free Coca-Cola, but you have to drink it here.
Join Goma Lotto, Kenya's biggest lotto, with 30 draws in a day and odds up to 300 times. SMS the word KTN to 29055 to join today and be a winner after every 30 minutes. Play the Teke draw by depositing your betting amount through M-Pesa paybill number 934444. Goma Lotto, forever winning.
This is KTN News.
Welcome back to the broadcast. Many thanks for staying with us. It is the 13th day of April 2017, exactly 116 days to this year's general election, the beginning of that all-important exercise of the political party primaries, the ODM party being the first on the ground. Today was a turn of three counties, the county of Busia, the county of Bungoma, and Machakos County as far as the Orange Party is concerned. Vote tallying is underway as we speak. The results, some of them from some polling stations and some wards have started to stream in. And we have some results for you from the county of Bungoma that we did touch on earlier on. That is in the parliamentary contest of Kandui in the county of Bungoma. There we have some results from three polling stations. From Kijana Wamalo ward, we have John Makali, not David Makali, having 142 votes against Edwin Sifuna's 12. In Mechimeru polling stations, Makali has 425, with Edwin Sifuna garnering 209 votes from that particular polling stations. And from Kimugui polling stations in the constituency of Kandui, John Makali again garnering 425 votes against Edwin Sifuna's 135. That is what we have so far. Tallying still underway, still ongoing. And Chris Airo is here keeping an eye on things for us. But let's now cross live to the county of Busia, where much of the action has been a very hotly contested seats, especially the gubernatorial one, with incumbent Sospita Ojamong, of course, doing all he can in the campaign trail to recapture that seat, and the Funyula Member of Parliament, Paulo Tuoma, wanting to snatch that seat away from him. Let's now cross live to Busia and talk to our senior political reporter, Duncan Haemba, and also we have Chris Dairo in the county of Bungoma. They are standing by with me. Let me start with you, Duncan. What do we know so far in terms of the tallying process and the results that are streaming in? Do we have any numbers whatsoever?
Yes, Ben, numbers are trickling in fast and furious, albeit the numbers are not what you'd expected. It is not what you would have expected given the high stakes that this particular nomination drew. This speaking now, we can authoritatively give you the official results here at the Busia Agricultural Training Center, ATC, if you like it. It has been a neck-to-neck race because Sospita Ojamong has garnered 236 votes against Paulo Tuoma 216, a difference of just 20 votes. That is how tight it is, and this is the heart of Busia, or the headquarters of the county. And then I'm told at Mundere, that is in Budalangi constituency, Paulo Tuoma has received 335 votes against the governor, Sospita Ojamong's 73. Now, what we also understand, or what we've been able to gather, is at a primary school called Bohonyi, Otuoma has gotten 723 votes against Ojamong's 38 votes. At Sikoma, Otuoma has been able to receive 500 votes against Ojamong's 29 votes. At Bulwani Primary School, Otuoma is at 438 versus Ojamong at 67. At Angorom, Otuoma got 563, Ojamong got 128. At Muhui, Ojamong got 36. Otuoma received, at Muhui, Otuoma received 876 against Ojamong's 23. At Mayenje, a place called Mayenje, Otuoma received 509 against Ojamong's 36. At a polling station called Madola, Otuoma received 286 against Ojamong's 83. At Changara Primary School, this is in Teso, Ojamong got 493. Otuoma received paltry 34. At Nangoma polling station, Otuoma emerged number one with 585, I beg your pardon, against Ojamong's 84 votes. Spoiled votes at that particular polling station were 18. Those are some of the results that we've been able to receive as of now. Remember that there were 105 polling stations. Given the confusion that marred the whole exercise, perhaps it explains why the numbers that the candidates or the aspirants are receiving in those particular polling stations, why they are very, very minimal. But we will be expecting to receive the official results when the respective presiding officers come here at this being the county tally for the whole exercise. Remember that at this particular center is where they will compile, or they'll give the total tally of what whoever will have emerged ODM's candidate as far as the gubernatorial ticket is concerned, as well as woman representative. Ben.
Duncan, from what the officials are saying there, by what time do we expect to be knowing the official results?
There are 105 polling stations spread across the 7 constituencies, which are some far. So we are not sure what exactly the time that we will expect, given that this particular one, they started tallying after 6 p.m. and they've just concluded almost at 8:15. So it means if that is the pace across the county, or all the polling stations across this county of Busia, or rather the 7 constituencies, then it means the earliest we could be expecting the whole exercise to come to a close. Most probably it's past midnight. Remember, it's not the normal way, the way we receive them fast electronically whenever we have, whether it's the parliament, whether it's a by-election or the normal exercise conducted by IBC, where results are usually transmitted electronically. Ben.
All right, thank you, Duncan. Our senior political reporter, Duncan Haimba, they are joining us live from Busia. Been on air since 6 a.m. this morning, obviously tired, but still there to bring you the results as they start to streaming in that very tightly contested battle for the gubernatorial party ticket for the ODM party. We shall be putting perspective to what my guests think about those very few polling stations coming through. Let's now cross live to our senior political reporter, Chris Tairo, now in the county of Bungoma. Chris, good evening. What's happening? We have heard of a titanic battle there for Kandui constituency between John Makali and Edwin Sifuna. Any numbers for us so far?
Well, a very good evening to you, Ben. What is happening now is that the agents and, of course, the returning officers from different polling stations, they're returning here at the tallying center where it is at Bungoma DEB Primary School in Bungoma County. And, of course, the returning officer is yet to give us some of the provisional results, but I can just go through some of the 3 polling stations, of course, in Kandui constituency, because out of the 9 constituencies in Bungoma County, Kandui constituencies has come out as the one that will be hotly contested between Edwin Sifuna and, of course, John Makali. And at Pamos polling station, we got Makali managed to get 320 votes against Sifuna 21 votes and Gilbert 1 vote. At Chengalwali polling station, Makali got 265 votes against Sifuna's 24 votes. At Ndengwa polling station, Makali managed to get 96 votes, and then Sifuna managed to get 91 votes. From all the polling stations that or from the recent polling stations that we have managed to get provisional results, it is emerging that John Makali is at least breast ahead, and he's leading against his competitor Edwin Sifuna. But of course, these are just provisional results, and of course, we'll be waiting for the returning officer to give us the final details and who actually will be flying the ODM party ticket come the 8th of August in Kandui constituency. Of course, when you go to the position of the governor, we know that Alfred Hangati, who served in the office of the former prime minister as an assistant minister, was handed a direct ticket to contest against the current governor, who is already on a Jubilee Jubilee Party ticket. Ben, for now, we'll just continue waiting for these results as it continues streaming in fast and furious. And of course, we'll be telling our viewers who actually will be taking this seat or who will actually be flying the ODM party ticket come the 8th of August, Ben.
Thank you, Chris. Chris Tairo there coming to us live from Bungoma town, the county of Bungoma, of course, with the result that has been, the post that has been hotly contested for the ODM ticket, that is the Kandui parliamentary ticket, the ODM party ticket. There were some numbers there starting to paint a picture of how that race is panning out to be a very big contest coming up, of course, as was expected between John Makali and Edwin Sifuna. John Makali, they are from the first 6 polling stations that we have had, of course, provisional results coming out on top. We are keeping an eye on that for you. We shall be taking you to Machakos very shortly to find out what happened there. There was a bit of chaos in Machakos in one of the wards there. But Dismas, from the numbers that Duncan gave us there briefly, how do you see this shaping up? Very early, I know, in the day, but how do you see this shaping up?
I don't think it would be prudent for one to start maybe forming a premises on those numbers, because as they was reading them out, you actually don't know where the numbers are coming from, even from Busia. Because in Busia, you've got the Tesos and the other lawyers, so you can't start coming up with any kind of assumptions. You could be on the wrong path. But I think what comes out from Busia is very clear, that whoever gets the ODM ticket, probability of him being a governor is almost 100% is guaranteed, because Mr. Raila Odinga enjoys a near fanatical support, so that whoever who gets the ticket today, he can actually start counting his days as the next governor for Busia, which is very unfortunate, because when you look at the campaigns of both Otuoma and Governor Ojamong, and as Dr. Wich had indicated, not a single one has been discussing any issue. Everybody has just been doing propaganda. And you recall Governor Ojamong all along has been saying for the last several weeks that Otuoma is not loyal. He's not loyal to Mr. Raila Odinga. And he doesn't even mention the political party ODM. He says he's not loyal to Raila Odinga. There are some say he was working with Ababu Namwamba, he bolted, and he came back. And we know the reason why Dr. Otuoma bolted for some time is there were rumors that Governor Jamong was going to get a direct nomination. And as a result, he wanted to be sure that, in fact, it was going to be free and fair. So I suspect that wherever he's seated right now, Dr. Otuoma must be a very happy man, which goes back to the fundamental question. In Kenya, do we really have political parties, or we have special purpose vehicles being run by tribal lords? Right. And the answer is very clear. Like, for instance, in the MCA election in Machakos today, it's very interesting that all the candidates actually from one community, all of them are Kisis. And in as much as we want to say and, appear like there's no tribalism in Kenya, that's very curious that in that particular ward for the ODM, and it's the only ward where there was that nomination, that all the candidates are Kisii. And that's where you saw some sort of violence. So maybe moving forward, we need to have a new crop of leaders who will actually come up with parties anchored on specific ideologies that can unite Kenyans and take us to the next level.
We're seeing all this, Daktari, measuring yards being used, like who's loyal to the party or who, supports the party financially. Has been said. But in an ideal world, what are some of the factors that a party should look for when deciding who to give the nomination certificate?
I think this has been a track record of occurrences repeated over the last 25 years, where the parties do not pay attention to the caliber of leadership of the people that they would want to be the flag bearers for them. In a competitive democracy, you begin to pay attention to how closely aligned are these people to your party ideology. Mr. Odinga in the last election, for instance, if you say as an example, they had the ODM manifesto, for instance. We'd have expected that the ODM governors were running on that over the last 4 years to govern those counties. We should have seen miniature implementation instances of the bigger ODM thing to say, okay, if it was infrastructure, if it was education, if it was all of these things, we should have seen that. But it's not structured that way. It is basically, now at the county level, it is either ethnic or sectoral. And as you can see, in this election, there's only 2 constituencies that are purely Teso. And out of the 7, the 5 are purely Luhya. And the Teso constituency that was red in this, you saw Jamong leading by a huge margin. So this ethnic thing that is still playing out there. But the point that I want to make, which I think is an interesting point, and we need to keep this in mind going into the general election, is the turnout. Those numbers are extremely tiny. If you saw some of the clips that you guys showed of the rallies, some of the rallies they had probably thousands of people. But look at those poll numbers. They didn't read anything that was over 700 or even 800 votes per person. We didn't get polling stations that had more than 1,000 people. Right. So my suspicion is that given the shambolic way in which the political process has been proceeding across the political divide, voters are checking out. And as Disma said, there haven't been any issues that are raised that are affecting the lives of ordinary people. That is basically giving them confidence that if we elect these individuals, they're going to make sure that I don't draw water from a puddle, right, but the water comes in a pipe.
Right.
So I think that apathy is something that we need to start looking out for. It might actually creep in the general election. And that's going to send a very strong message to the political process, right, that it needs to reconnect back to the issues that affect the people.
All right, I want us to talk about that. But before we do that, let's talk to Muremi Mwangi, who has been keeping an eye on things in the county of Machakos in that particular ward. That he now joins us live on the phone. Muremi, if you can hear me, good evening. And what has been, how did the exercise end at some point in the afternoon? There was total chaos where ballot papers were destroyed. What has happened? If you can just bring us up to speed, how have ODM dealt with this?
Good evening, Ben. Well, for starters, the returning officer there did declare one candidate the winner in that particular election or party nomination exercise, and that was Bob Nyambaka. But it's interesting how that declaration was made, given that the past 2 hours leading to that particular announcement had been preceded by chaos right from the time when the counting of the votes began. And remember, the voting had commenced from 7. The voting stopped briefly before 3 p.m., and that was by consensus among all the candidates that were contesting that election to pave way for the counting of the votes. But barely some 45 minutes into the counting of these votes, there was a complaint that was raised by one of the candidates by the name Richard Masese. And his complaint was that the ballot papers that would be summed up to his opponent, Bob, were consistently from ballot papers that had not been folded up. And that, he said, raised eyebrows as to if these particular ballot papers had been stuffed into the ballot boxes. That was discussed for close to some other 30 minutes. The tallying stopped, and the returning officer called for reinforcement of more police officers to that particular tallying station. But when these officers arrived and the tallying resumed, something interesting happened, because another 30 minutes into the counting of these votes, Masese, discovered there was a bundle of votes that had been placed within the ballot box, and he said that that would not have been ballot papers that had been put there by the participants in that exercise. And he said that that was the evidence that indeed there had been some ballot stuffing in that particular exercise. And that was the end of the tallying exercise, because everything else turned chaotic, the smashing of the ballot boxes, as well as the throwing of stones by supporters of all the candidates that were participating, and the shots that were fired by police officers to disperse the crowd from there. And ultimately, it was clear that there was no winner that had been declared based on the final tally that had been discovered. But ultimately, the returning officer said that he made a call to Orange House headquarters, right, and specifically to the disciplinary committee, and he said that he had received the go-ahead to declare Bob the winner, and that disciplinary action would be initiated against Richard Masese, who had raised the complaint about what he said was clear evidence of stuffing of ballot boxes in that exercise. Then.
Thank you, Muremi Mwangi, there, of course, giving us a quick update of what happened in Machakos earlier today, that ODM have decided to give the certificate to one of the participants, of the contestants rather, the one who was not involved in that chaos. We are keeping an eye on that story for you. When we return, I'll just talk about the voter turnout in this election. Very important nomination exercise by one of the most popular parties in this country. Dr. Awiti says it was not impressive. We talk about what that means going into the election. We also talk about the ODM party has purported to crack the whip on some of its aspirants. Don't go too far. This is Choice 2017.